Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Gyan Bhakti. We are currently exploring the scripture Mysticism of Srimad Bhagavatam. Commentaries by my Guruji Swami Jyotirmayananda ji Maharaj, narrated by myself Swami Nikhilanand. So let us continue our satsang. We are currently exploring the mystical meaning of Lord Krishna bringing back the son of his Guru Sandeepani and the different chakras and how it implies and benefits us. So, in a figurative way, it has been described that the human heart is like a vessel, but it is often inverted. Divine grace showers in abundance at all times, like monsoon rains. But because the cup of our heart is inverted, not a drop of that grace enters into it. Once we straighten our heart by our self effort, by disciplining ourselves, then we begin to receive that grace. And that is why we say self effort is straightening our vessel, making it receptive to the rain, pure rain water, so we can absorb this knowledge. Therefore, as the story points out, on the path to attaining enlightenment, aspirants must receive direct knowledge by studying scriptures with a guru under competent profound knowledge, because the scriptures, as I often say, are locked. When you just read the scriptures and you are not advanced, you will interpret a totally different meaning of the written word, whereas there is generally a mystical meaning behind it. That's why we have been exploring, under the guidance of our worshipful Guruji, we have been exploring the deeper meanings and understanding the depth of every episode, so we can understand that Bhagavatam is not to be just thought of as a historical event or a story thousands of years ago, but also how we can benefit from it in our practical daily lives. So they must practice sadhana. The aspirant has to practice his disciplines, spiritual disciplines, and in a profound way, in order to destroy the obstacles or the subtle desires that prevent the Vishuddhi Chakra from unfolding, and Viveka Shakti, discriminative knowledge, to emerge in fullness. So we have to open up these subtle nadis and chakras within, and that happens, we cannot force it, it has to happen spontaneously in a dedicated manner. As you see a flower unfold, you cannot force a bud to bloom, and let it, when it blooms naturally, it is genuine and fragrant. So that is what we should be doing with our Kundalini Shakti also. Once that happens, the sound of the divine Kanch, the majestic sound of awakening, resounds through the heart and drowns out the rude noises of ignorance forever. That is the sound of victory, the sound of destroying ignorance and conquering and moving further on this holy path. So with this, we can conclude this episode, and let's move on to the next episode of Uddhava, who visits the gopis. Uddhav was a close friend and great devotee of Lord Krishna. One day Krishna lovingly told Uddhav, "Oh friend, go to Vrij. There are my foster parents, Nanda and Yashoda, and they are grieving because of my absence." They didn't realize that Krishna would never come back when he left Vrindavan. So he told Uddhav, there too the gopis, or the cowherd maidens, are suffering from the pangs of separation from me. Those pangs of separation are very important. It is called viraha. Viraha means a sweet pain, very pure, that helps us quickly advance on the spiritual journey, which we will cover. So he says to Uddhava, go there and bring my message to them and relieve their suffering. So God is always full of compassion and love, and He sends us help whenever we need it. So Uddhava went to Vrij and was warmly received by Nand and Yashoda. The night passed quickly as they conversed about Krishna's greatness and shared Vedantic insights into the transcendental nature of Krishna. When morning came, the gopis saw Uddhava emerge from the house of Nanda and Yashoda. They approached him curiously and learned that he had come to bring messages from Krishna. So Uddhav had followed lot of Vedanta, lot of deeper intellectual teachings, and Lord Krishna in a subtle way wanted to humble Uddhava because of his so-called knowledge that he thought he had. He wanted Uddhav to get a direct experience of the gopis who were illiterate cow herds, women milking cows, very simple, totally illiterate, but full of love and devotion. So this is a beautiful episode which we should all enjoy and introspect also. Uddhav began to explain that they should not feel miserable because Krishna was not with them, because his mission has carried him elsewhere. The gopis responded, "What strange talk is this? You say Krishna is not with us? Krishna is always with us. In every direction we see Krishna. In the forests, in the fields, in the cows, in the calves. He is present in everything and everywhere." As he continued to converse with the gopis, Uddhava understood the heights of divine love that those exalted devotees had attained, and he was overjoyed. There is another saying that says that all the advanced sages and saints who had done a lot of tapasya, as a blessing they all came as gopis, illiterate gopis, so they could feel and touch and dance with Krishna and enjoy the glories of simplicity and enjoying God in his purest form. So that is, this is the lesson that Uddhava is also seeing, how they are so much immersed, and yet many of us, we study some scriptures and we develop intellectual pride that I know these shlokas, I know the deeper meanings and this, that. We are nothing compared to those gopis. He then realized that with all his intellectual knowledge of Vedanta, he had not yet attained that lofty state. So he was honest enough to understand, introspect, and analyze. To him, Krishna was in one place and other things were in other places. So he had not reconciled the time and space difference, but the gopis did. Although Krishna had never come back, they never felt his absence. They felt he was in their hearts. To him, there was still multiplicity in this world. For the gopis, there was no multiplicity. There was only Krishna. So 6 months passed in his visit with the gopis of Vraja, but to Uddhav it appeared only like a moment. When it was time for him to depart, Uddhav bowed down to the gopis with profound adoration and gratitude for the humility they had engendered in his heart. Although Krishna told him, "You go and console them and you give them comfort," inwardly Krishna knew that Uddhav is the one who needed the lesson. He is the one who needed to be humbled. He is the one who needed to grow. The gopis were already at an elevated state. So we will study the mystical meaning of this beautiful viraha and different episode in tomorrow's satsang. This is Swami Nikhilanand. Om Tat Sat.